Hi there. Well, I'm at the intersection of Palmer and Wildwood. And anybody familiar with local history knows that there was an elementary school back here called Cleveland. And I've been peeking through the fence and at the gates where the driveways into there must have been, but the property's closed off. It was owned by the state of Michigan. It probably still is. Sold to them by the Wayne-Westland Community School District. And excuse me. It used to be Sassafras Trails, where we had a nature preserve and we had earth sciences courses in there. And so peeking through the fence, I've noticed, whatever remains of the foundation of the place that I heard burned down. Some people say it was arson. But I recently became aware of a bean called the honey locust bean, not to be confused with the toxic black locust. And it's a tree that grows these beans that you can see up here, which for those who are interested in foraging know are edible. And they're called honey locust because they are apparently very sweet. So I came to harvest some of these things and see about that. And I guess evolutionary, I guess the species evolved so that with the spikes, let's find some of the spiky stuff to protect the beans from predators. Now I'm not seeing the spiky stuff. So do I have the wrong species? Because I distinctly remember when I explored before along here, encountering a very spiky plant, and this is not spiky. So I'm wondering if I've got the wrong bean. There are no spikes on these branches. So how did I get the memory? Where did the memory come from of a really spiky plant, a spiky tree? So I'm gonna have to I'm gonna pause the camera and reconsider here, try to figure out what's going on. Okay, I think I figured out what's going on. I think we have both species happening here. We have the honey locust and the toxic black locust. And they're said to have completely different bark. So the bark of this tree, the one attached to these pods is very smooth. See those? See that? Very smooth bark. No spikes. So let's go down a little further. That's too bad because there's a good supply of these beans. If we go down here, we have a little bit different kind of pod. These curly dark ones. Coming off of this tree that definitely has spiky spikes coming out of it. Check these suckers out. The triple spikes that I read about. And you'll note way different kind of bark, and check out all the spiky protrusions on this thing. So this is definitely the honey locust, and what we have down there has got to be a different variety, probably the toxic one. So this makes me nervous. I could try to harvest some of the honey locust pods, and they do look different. If I was careful, I could probably not get them mixed up. But then again, it might be easy to get one or two pods of the wrong thing in there. So let's try down here. There's more pods hanging off of this one. And this is the wrong kind. These pods, but no spikes and a smoother bark. So not the tree I'm looking for. So I don't know, what do you think, guys? Should I attempt to harvest some of the pods, or is it just too risky? There is a distinction. You'll notice the pods that I don't want are like that one. The pods that I do want are like that. See the comparison? One's longer, it's skinnier. Like that one. Darker. The other one's wider. Let me mount this back on my head. So I can have two hands to work with. Drawback being, I don't know if I'm getting this anything in, I'm not getting into the viewfinder. It's not a very healthy looking bead. It looks kind of like a pumpkin seed. Bean. These are supposedly the wrong kind. Check these out. So let's open one of the supposedly right kind. Let's not get them confused. Tougher pod. The bean is a little bit smaller. Let's taste the pulp. It's very sweet pulp surrounding the beans, so this is the right chet. Now the other one's supposed to be toxic. I probably should not be tasting the pulp. But there's plenty, as you can see, there's plenty of little beans, which is supposed to be edible. So this is the wrong one. So could I die from tasting the pulp? The pulp of these is sweet as well. Huh. All right, so I have a collection of, I'm pretty sure, the Honey Locust pods. They're more abundantly these, which are different but still have the same sweet pulp that surrounds the beans. So I'm going to get a few of these and take some documentation, but I'm primarily harvesting these. And I hadn't anticipated how hard this was going to be on my joints. So, if I come back, I'm gonna bring one of those reacher things to pick things up off the ground. But all in all, it seems like it's going to be a kind of a lot of work to shell these things. And then apparently you have to soak them overnight and then cook them until they're soft. So yeah, too bad. I mean, there's a bunch still up on the tree that they're just out of reach. And these, which I'm guessing are the wrong variety, are easy picking. And the beans are more abundant. Okay, I'm gonna shut this off and get to work. All right, well, the sun is starting to set. Before I lose adequate light, I thought I'd show you where the old gate would have been to get into Cleveland School. As you can see, it's a big swinging thing that's been overgrown. This is a gate that is not going to move because of the growth. The strangling vines that start off teeny tiny twigs like this and end up entwining the fence. Isn't that neat? The way it just, it's like, nope, we're gonna seal this up. You know what, the padlock is no longer necessary because these vines have done a pretty damn good job of seeing to it that this gate is non-functional. But yeah, this used to be the old gate onto the Cleveland school grounds. So let's go back to the bike. Getting acclimated to the coolness, the cold in my riding, but it's still kind of a shock. Used to riding in a little bit warmer weather. I don't like sweating, but I don't like freezing my nuts off either. It is odd, I think. The sign says no parking in driveway when the gate is down there somewhere. So assuming this little ridge that runs parallel the fence, maybe that was part of the driveway. You can see a little what's probably a flagpole or some sort of weather pole back there. Not man-made, and the trees are new growth here compared to the surrounding trees, which are older growth. So the school must have been right here. And I dream of sometime, some way, getting access to explore back there. But if it's owned by the state, I don't know how you do such a thing. Yeah, but these pods are almost certainly not the ones I'm looking for.